FM News Talk 97.1. On-demand audio.
Sitting with me is somebody that everybody knows, and when I found out that he was a conservative, I don't girl streak, but I girl streak. Allen Covert has been in every movie that you've ever seen. I know all of you out there have all of the DVDs that he's in. You know, Never Been Kissed, Wedding Singer, 51st Dates. I mean, you've been in everything, and you are also here at CPAC
right.
to talk about, not just to tell Kane and I really awesome Ramon stories before we go on air, but you're here talking about Charity Tree, which is a digital Cherry Tree.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said Charity Tree.
Cherry Tree. I clearly have not had enough coffee.
I'll be talking about Charity Tree at the Co's convention.
Right, there you go. It's a digital publishing company, and I love that I saw you at Blog Bash last night, and I'm so glad. This is your first CPAC.
Oh, yeah. I said to people, they were like, oh, you got to go talk to all these people. I said, are you kidding me? It's like going to the Super Bowl for me.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I literally, I talked to someone else earlier, and right before me they had John Bolton, and I was like, I can't sit in the same chair that John Bolton sat in. I'm not that honored, please.
Oh, but I mean, you're doing you're involved in, A&E, and you're a conservative in Hollywood, which is, front lines hard enough, because we always say politics downstream from pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
That's where everything is.
Yeah.
Now, and I didn't know that there was this other side of you, that you were, you're a publisher, really.
Well, yeah, this is something new. This is something we've been working on for the last year at Cherry Tree. It's an online app. Right now it's for iPads and iPhones. But we are going to expand to everything. We're going to be on Amazon, Kindle Fire, all of those, and Androids eventually. The app is free. Just go to your app store, put in Cherry Tree, download it, and it's online books for kids, small kids, 3 to 6, so parents can read bedtime stories, and they're patriotic themed, and it's not something that it's not a political book. It's not bashing kids over the head with. Tax policy.
You're going to vote Republican.
Yeah, it's not talking about anything like that. It's very simple stuff like I learned when I was a kid. That's why we went with the name Cherry Tree. Yeah. One of the first things I learned as a kid was George Washington, the father of our country, was an honest man.
That's right.
And I've also heard from, my friends in Hollywood, yeah, but that story's not true. And I go, well, yeah, neither is the tortoise and the hare.
But that's not the point.
Yeah,
the point is that it's a good message for kids, and this is, that's most kids' books. I took my kids to the Barnes and Noble the other day to get them some books, and it's all whiny little Caillou, the little whiny PBS Caillou kid. He's on a book.
Please, someone do a different voiceover for Caillou.
I can't stand, and it's difficult to find books that don't talk down to kids, and that teaching
or that don't talk where the kids don't talk down to parents.
Right. Where smart aleck kid isn't celebrated in the book.
Right.
So this guy's this is your icon here. This is your role model.
And, my oldest is 5, so it took me a while to kind of realize, hey, this is teaching her that it's okay to be sassy to me. And
that's not awesome.
It's like, I love my daughter. I will do anything for her, but at the end of the day, I'm dad.
Yeah.
I'm not friend.
Right.
From next door.
Yeah, you have to. Dad lays down the law. Well, this is so. How many? So, give me an instance of some of the titles that you have.
We have 4. We launched with 4 separate titles. Each title has 2 books available. One book is free. We offer the first book free. It's Tex the T-Rex.
Nice.
And Tex is a dinosaur who was born on the 4th of July in Texas, and he travels the country and visits historical landmarks. He goes to Plymouth Rock in the first book.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and he talks about the Pilgrims and the fact that they came here for freedom.
Right.
And
it's telling history accurately and in a fun way.
Interactive way. It's digitally interactive.
And kids love that.
Yeah, they can digitally turn the pages.
It's an excuse to get mom and dad's iPad.
Right, and if you're also on a long road trip, mom and dad can tell them, hit the button, hit the other button. And we have Melissa Disney, this great audiobook actress who has narrated all of the books. So you can either read it yourself, or, like I said, you could put on the earplugs in the car and have it read to you. And we have also... Tex also does a little bit about American exceptionalism. He goes to Cape Canaveral and talks about how we built these rockets and how they went to the moon, and no one else has ever done that.
And you don't, and this is the thing that I've seen more and more, not just in films, but especially in stuff that's directed towards kids. Mm-hmm. Everything that I remember reading when I was young made it attractive to be proud of your country, and
exactly.
It celebrated all of the pro-American characteristics. And now that's nerdy and something that you're supposed to be ashamed of, and it's taught in books.
I've had people ask me, are you worried about any controversy? And I go, how is teaching children to love their country controversial?
Right.
I said,
right.
And that brings us to this other series of books we have called Special Hops. And Special Hops are the bunnies who protect the farm. where everybody lives.
Yeah.
There's Lieutenant Cashmere, the nice pink bunny. There's Commander Jackrabbit and Cadet Cottontail.
That's awesome.
And it teaches kids about loyalty and bravery, and a little bit about like, hey, these people protect you, and that's okay, and they're good, and you should appreciate them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we have tried to teach as much as we can. We have Our Town USA, which is a small town values series.
Right.
And the first one's called The Money Tree. And the little boy wants his mommy to buy him something, and she's like, hey, money doesn't grow on trees. I can't just buy you everything. And he's like, well, where does it come from? So she makes him go to work with his father the next day. He has a small business. He owns an auto shop. And the little boy spends the day working with Dad and learning, like, wow, this is what Dad does, and this is where money comes from.
Right.
And, I fix their cars, and they pay me.
It sounds like it's totally in the vein of the really cool, like, Schoolhouse Rock aesthetic. I love.
Let me tell you,
oh my gosh,
it's like I said, I grew up watching that.
That's awesome.
There was nothing controversial about this is our Constitution. This is how a bill gets made. I still, to this day, remember I'm just a bill sitting here on Capitol Hill.
That's right.
And that's how I learned how laws get made.
Interplanet Janet.
Yeah, and it's like there's nothing, and that's kind of what we're trying to get back to, which is it's just common sense. But what we're trying to do with Cherry Tree is have a place where parents aren't afraid of what their kids are going to see.
Right.
So if you go to Cherry Tree and they're doing anything in Cherry Tree, you don't have to worry about, the smart aleck kid or, the green message that's being,
oh my
shoved
gosh,
down
with
your
everything.
kid's throat.
My kids even come to me with it, like, Mom, we checked this, like, they'll get a book we homeschool our kids, and so we're part of this co-op, and they'll like get a book, at the resale shop and bring it to us. And Mom, they're talking about super green stuff in here. They even get it because they look at it and they're like, this doesn't seem like it's about recycling or taking care of the planet.
No, it's about an agenda.
Crap.
I mean, look, my daughter had a book that literally was about a pollution monster.
Oh my gosh.
And it was all about, I think, the factory. And it's like, well, what about the fact that, like, Daddy works at the factory and that's how you eat?
Right.
Because, look, this is what infuriates me the most. When people find out I'm a conservative, they're like, oh, you don't care about the environment. I was like, I grew up caring very greatly about the environment. I grew up in Florida. We would go clean the beaches on weekends. I would tell people, don't you dare throw your trash on our beach.
Right.
Because it's our beach.
Right.
I don't
You
pollute.
can still be a good steward of the environment without having to, like, worship, that be your religion and usher in a new economic distribution.
Exactly. It's just, you don't have to, just because you believe one thing doesn't mean that you want to destroy the planet.
Right.
And so, but the other story that really kind of, and I was already deep into making this when I read this book that my daughter brought home from her kindergarten library. And it was, the author is probably going to hate me because I've mentioned this a few times. I don't even know the title of the book, but it was basically a book that told the story of the three pigs from the wolf's point of view. And it was all about how...
See, now all I'm thinking of is bacon, but go ahead.
It was all about... Exactly. Oh, trust me, my daughter's the biggest carnivore in the world. She watched Bambi, and she was like, why do other animals only eat animals? I go, yeah. I go, well, because they eat animals. And she goes, well, we all eat animals, Daddy.
Right.
But this story was literally about the wolf explaining, like, look, I was kind of framed. And at the end of the story, I was just like, that's not the point of this story.
Yeah, that's not, that wasn't, no.
I don't need her to come to me with every story and go, well, yeah, but what was the other side of the story? It's like, it's very funny because one of the things I always try to say to my daughter when she asks about, well, why is that person so mean? And I literally tell her, I go, sometimes people are just bad.
That's right. And why is that our society can't just accept that?
Yeah.
They just can't. Things are black and white, and we need to make sure that gets across to our kids as well. Allen Covert, I am such a huge fan of your work.
Thank you.
And I'm
going
to download Cherry Tree. I'm going to totally get it because this is right up my alley.
Yeah.
I'm so excited
It's free, and
about
we're going to
this.
expand as we can, and we're going to provide games and hopefully animate some of these stories. And we want to do sports stories for young boys that say, hey,
awesome.
you know what? It's okay to win.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you.
Let's keep score.
Thank you. Yeah, not everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, Allen Covert, thank you so much. Cherry Tree, it was such a pleasure.
Thank you, and I love the bumper music.
Oh, awesome. Thanks so much.